I was sitting in my office, cleaning the debris out of my .38 and wondering where my next case was coming from. I like being a private eye, and even though once in a while I've had my gums massaged with an automobile jack, the sweet smell of greenbacks makes it all worth it. Not to mention the dames, which are a minor preoccupation of mine that I rank just ahead of breathing and just behind a cheap bottle of bourbon. That's why when the door to my office swung open and a dame named Heather Butkus came striding in and told me she was a nudie model and needed my help, my salivary gland shifted into third. She wore a long sealskin coat, and her figure described a set of parabolas that could cause cardiac arrest in a yak. What can I do for you, sugar?
I want you to find someone for me.
A missing person? Tried the police?
Not exactly, Mr. Lupowitz.
Call me Kaiser, sugar. All right. So what's a scam?
God.
God?
That's right. God. The creator. The underlying principle. The first cause of things. The all-encompassing. I want you to find him for me.
Now, I've had some fruitcakes up in my office before. But when they're built like she was, you listened. Why?
That's my business, Kaiser. You just find him.
Well, sorry, sugar, but I think you got the wrong boy.
But why?
Unless I know all the facts, I never take a case.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, very nice. Now let's have it on the line.
Well, the truth is, I'm not really a nudie model.
Too bad.
My name is not Heather Butkus either. It's Claire Rosenzweig, and I'm a student at Vassar. Philosophy major, history of Western thought and all that. I have a paper due January on Western religion. All the other kids in the course will hand in speculative papers. But I want to know. Professor Grebenet says that if anyone finds out for sure, they're a cinch to pass the course. And Daddy's promised me a Mercedes if I get straight A's.
Her story was beginning to interest me. A spoiled co-ed, high IQ, and a body I wanted to know better. What does God look like?
I've never seen him.
And how do you know he exists?
That's for you to find out.
Oh, great. Then you don't know what he looks like or where to begin looking, huh?
No. Not really. Although I suspect he's everywhere. In the air, in every flower, in you and I, and in this hat.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So, she was a pantheist. I made a mental note of it and said I'd give her case a try. I'll see what I can do. For $100 a day, expenses, and a new hat. Out on the street, night was falling. It was getting dark. might even say that it looked like rain. Maybe God did exist, and maybe he didn't. But somewhere in that city, there sure were a lot of guys who were going to try and keep me from finding out. My first lead was Rabbi Ishtak Wiseman, a local cleric who owed me a favor for finding out who was rubbing pork on his hat. I could tell something was wrong when I spoke to him because he was scared. Real scared.
Of course there's a you-know-what, but I'm not even allowed to say his name or he'll strike me dead, which I can't understand why he's so touchy about having his name said.
You ever seen him?
Me? Are you kidding? I'm lucky if I get to see my grandchildren.
Well, then how do you know he exists?
How do I know? What kind of question is that? Could I get a coat like this for $14 if there wasn't somebody out there? Here, feel a gabardine. How can you doubt?
Is that all you got to go on?
What's the Old Testament? Chopped liver? How do you think Moses got the Israelites out of Egypt? With a smile and a tap dance? Believe me, you don't part the Red Sea with some gizmo from Ranford. It takes power.
So he's tough, huh?
Yes, very tough. You'd think with all that success, he'd be a lot sweeter.
How come you know so much?
'Cause we are the chosen people. He takes best care of us, of all his children, which I'd also like to someday discuss with him.
So that's how it was. The Jews were into God for a lot. It was the old protection racket. Take care of them in return for a price. What do you pay him for being chosen?
Don't ask.
And from the way Rabbi Wiseman was talking, he soaked them plenty. I grabbed a cab and made it over to the Belmont, a dingy little flophouse on 10th Avenue whose quaint accommodations had all the charm of a week-old pair of socks. Inside was the man I came to see, Chicago Phil. Forger, bank robber, strong-arm man, an avowed atheist.
Hey, Kaiser.
Hey, Phil, how you doing?
Fine. Sit down, have a drink.
Long time no see, huh? When'd you get out?
About 2 months ago.
So, Phil, I need a big favor from an old friend.
So shoot.
I'm looking for the omnipotent, Mr. Big, God.
The guy never existed, Kaiser.
Huh?
This is the straight dope. It's a big hype. There's no Mr. Big. It's a syndicate. Mostly Sicilian. It's international. But there's no real head. Except maybe the Pope.
I want to meet the Pope.
It can be arranged. But it won't be easy.
Do it. Does the name Claire Rosenzweig mean anything to you?
Nah.
What about Heather Butkus?
Oh, yeah, sure. She's that dye job. With the Bazooms from Radcliffe.
Radcliffe? She told me Vassar.
Well, she's lying. She was a teacher at Radcliffe. She got hooked up with a philosopher for a while.
Huh, was he a pantheist?
No. Empiricist, as I remember. Bad guy. He completely rejected Hegel or any concept of dialectical methodology.
One of those, huh?
Yeah. He was a drummer with a jazz trio. Then he got hooked on logical positivism. When that didn't work, he tried pragmatism. The last I heard, he stole a lot of money to take a course in Schopenhauer at Columbia. The mob would like to find him. Or at least get their hands on his textbooks so they can resell them.
Thanks, Phil.
Take it from me, Kaiser. There's no one out there. It's all a void. Do you think that I could pass all those bad checks and screw society the way I do if for one instant I thought I could recognize any authentic sense of being? The universe is strictly phenomenological. Nothing is eternal. It's all meaningless.
I had a beer at O'Rourke's and tried to add the whole thing up, but it just didn't make any sense at all. Now, Socrates was a suicide, or so they said. Christ was murdered, and Nietzsche went nuts. If there was somebody out there, he sure as hell didn't want anybody to know about it. And why was Claire Rosenzweig lying about Vassar? Could Descartes have been right? Was the universe dualistic? Or did Kant hit it on the head when he postulated the existence of God on moral grounds? Well, that night I had dinner with Claire. 10 minutes after the check came, we were in the sack, and brother, you can have your Western thought. She went through the kind of gymnastics that would have won first prize at the Tijuana Olympics. Claire?
What if Kierkegaard is right?
You mean?
If you can never really know, only have faith.
That's absurd.
Don't be so rational.
Nobody's being rational, Kaiser. Just don't get ontological with me. Not now. I couldn't bear it if you were ontological with me. Yes? It's for you.
The voice on the other end was Sergeant Reed of Homicide.
Yeah.
You still looking for God, the all-powerful being?
Yeah.
Great oneness, creator of the universe, first cause of all things?
Yeah, that's right.
Somebody with that description just showed up at the morgue. You better get down here right away.
He was dead when they brought him in.
Where'd you find him?
A warehouse on Delancey Street.
Any clues?
Yeah. It's the work of an existentialist. We're sure about that.
How can you tell?
Haphazard way how it was done. Doesn't seem to be any system followed. Impulse.
Yeah, it's him all right. And from the looks of him, it was a professional job.
Crime of passion?
You got it. Which makes you a suspect, Kaiser.
Hey, why me, Flatfoot?
Everybody down at headquarters knows how you feel about Jaspers.
Yeah, sure, but that doesn't make me a killer.
Not yet. But it makes you a suspect.
I sucked air into my lungs and tried to clear my head, but it was no use. Somebody had found God before me. It bothered me that I was too late. First they got the kid, now the old man. Some days, nothing seems to go right.
Hold it, Lupowitz. The boss is having a party, and you're the special guest.
Sped through the city, all I could think about was who could be at the other end. I didn't have long to wait. In his plush penthouse suite, I finally came face to face with the guy who was supposed to have all the answers. His Holiness, the Pope.
Mr. Lupowitz, I've been expecting you. I trust you had a pleasant ride.
Sure. Just like a Sunday afternoon drive with the kids.
Splendid, splendid. Please be seated. Could I offer you a wafer?
I just ate.
Nothing? Perhaps Perhaps I could interest you in a glass of wine.
No thanks, Holiness, but, you go ahead.
Suit yourself. But they serve a wonderful Chateauneuf de Pope here, unlike the Vatican, where you can't get a good Beaujolais. Eh, Bernard?
I'll come right to the point, Pontiff. I'm looking for God.
Well, you've come to the right person.
Oh, then he does exist, huh?
Pretty boy over here wants to know if he exists.
Sorry, kid. You know, Holiness, you're okay. I think I'll have a belt of that stuff after all.
A wise decision. Wise decision. Bernard.
So, Pontiff, you think he exists, huh?
Ah, of course he exists, Lubowitz. But I'm the only one that communicates with him. He speaks only through me.
Well, here's looking at him.
To him.
But one thing I don't get, Pontiff. What's your angle?
It's all in the suit. Every morning, I rise, I put on the red suit, and suddenly I'm the big cheese. Let's face it, I run around in slacks and a sports jacket. I couldn't get arrested, religion-wise.
Well, then the whole thing's a hype? There is no God, huh?
I don't know. But after all, Mr. Lubowitz, the money is quite good.
Does the name Claire Rosenzweig mean anything to you?
She's in the science department at Bryn Mawr.
Science, you say? Thanks. One more thing. Don't you ever worry that the laundry won't get your red suit back in time and you'll be like all the rest of us?
We use the special one-day service. We find that it's worth a few extra cents to be safe.
Rise and shine, bright boy. Long time no see. For a while there, I thought you were gonna do the job for me.
Oh, no. Not you again. I thought I had you out of my hair.
You're all washed up, Lubowitz. As soon as I get the nod, you'll be taking the big nap.
You and me both, kid.
How do you figure?
Who do you think they're gonna use for a fall guy? You think the Pope is gonna martyr himself for you? They're gonna crucify you, kid. You know that, don't you?
I'm not nervous. You're chipping the wrong song, Lubowitz. Sing it someplace else.
Why, you poor sap. You are nothing more than a two-bit laundry boy with a fancy title. You mess up at the cleaners once. Just once. And before you can say no starch, you're gonna find yourself in a monastery somewhere in the Arctic Circle chewing blubber and yelling mush a lot.
I ain't worried.
You ain't worried. What are you, kid? Some kind of determinist? Huh? You determinist, kid? Yeah, sure. I should have known it the first time I ever laid eyes on you. Deep-set, hollow eyes. Come on, kid, admit it. You're a lousy, rotten determinist.
So what if I am?
I'll bet your mother was a determinist too, kid. Wasn't she? Huh? Was your mother a determinist? Ah, yeah, word has it that she was one of Heisenberg's disciples.
Now you've gone too far, Lupowitz. Nobody says that about my mom.
Wait! I gotta know. Who's Heisenberg?
Why don't you ask Sergeant Reed when he shows up?
I stopped at my office and did some fast checking. I had a hunch. It was 1,000,000 to 1 shot, but it was all I had. If it worked, I was home free. But if it didn't,
God is dead. The police were here today. They're looking for you. They think an existentialist did it.
Oh, nah, sugar. It was you.
What? Don't make jokes, Kaiser.
It was you that did it.
What are you saying?
Not Heather Butkus and not Claire Rosenzweig, but you. Dr. Ellen Shepard.
How did you know my name?
Professor of physics at Bryn Mawr, the youngest one ever to head a department there. At the midwinter hop, he gets stuck on a jazz musician who's heavily into philosophy. He's married, but that doesn't stop you. A couple of nights in the sack and it feels like love, but it doesn't work out. Something comes between you. God. See, sugar? He believed, or wanted to. But you, with your pretty little scientific mind, had to have absolute certainty.
No, Kaiser, I swear.
So you pretend to study philosophy because that gives you a chance to eliminate certain obstacles. You get rid of Socrates easy enough, but then Descartes takes over, so you Spinoza to get rid of Descartes. And then when Kant doesn't come through, you have to get rid of him too.
You don't know what you're saying.
You made mincemeat out of Leibniz. But even that wasn't good enough for you because you knew if anyone believed Pascal, you'd be dead, so he had to be gotten rid of too. But that's where you made your mistake, sugar. Because you trusted Martin Buber. But he was soft. He believed in God, so you had to get rid of God yourself.
No, Kaiser, you're mad.
No, baby. You pose as a pantheist, because that would give you access to him, if he existed, which he did. He went with you to Shelby's party, and then when Jason wasn't looking, you killed him.
Who the hell are Shelby and Jason?
What's the difference? Life's absurd now, anyway.
Kaiser. Kaiser, you wouldn't turn me in, would you?
Oh, yeah, baby. When the Supreme Being gets knocked off, somebody's got to take the rap. And this time it ain't gonna be me.
Oh, Kaiser. We could go away together, just the two of us. We could forget about philosophy. Settle down. And maybe get into semantics.
Sorry, sugar. It's no dice.
Oh. I don't believe you did that.
She was fading fast, but I managed to get it in time.
The manifestation of the universe is a complex idea unto itself. As opposed to being in or outside the true being of itself is inherently a conceptual nothingness. or nothingness in relation to any abstract form of existing, to exist, or having existed in perpetuity, and not subject to the laws of physicality, or motion, or ideas, or anything relating to non-matter, the lack of objective being or subjective otherness.
Yes, but...
It was a subtle concept, but I think she understood before she died.